Seeing as it is 7 o'clock, the joint convention of the Gardner City Council and Gardner School Committee will come to order, and the clerk will please call the roll.
Councilor Boone?
Present.
Councilor Boudreaux?
Present.
Councilor Craig Cormier?
Present.
Councilor Ronald Cormier?
Present.
Councilor Donald-Lowitz?
Present.
Councilor Hardern?
Present.
Councilor Heath?
Present.
Councilor Mack? Councilor Tyrus?
Present.
Councilor Walsh?
Present.
President Kaczynskis?
Present.
Ms. Cormier? Ms. Hurst?
Present.
Mr. LaFreni? Ms. Plavin?
Present.
Mr. Swartz?
Present.
Ms. Ward Layton?
Present.
Ms. Nicholson? Yes. The purpose of this joint convention is to appoint registered voters of the City of Gardner to serve on the Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School District School Committee. Chapter 71 and 74 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts state that both the number of representatives and the process for appointment to the committee be as defined in the district agreement for the district. This is the contract signed by all member municipalities. Gardner entered the Monty Tech District Agreement in July of 1965. On Saturday, February 19th, Mayor Nicholson notified the members of the council and the school committee that he would be recusing himself from the proceedings of this joint convention due to a conflict of interest. As such, per section 32 of the charter, whenever the mayor is unable from any cause temporarily to perform his duties shall be performed by the president of the city council. Since section 37 of the city charter names the mayor as the chair of the school committee, and since chapter 43 of the city charter states that the mayor shall serve as the chair over joint conventions of the school committee and city council, as council president, I will be serving as the chair of this evening's proceedings. We will be voting to appoint 2 individuals to serve as Gardner's representatives to the Monty Tech School Committee, one for a term of 4 years, one for a term of 2 years. I will hereby read the notice of the meeting. Notice of joint convention of City Council and Gardner School Committee, Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School District Committee appointment. The City Council and School Committee will meet in joint convention on Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the City Council Chamber, room 219, City Hall, to appoint 2 Gardner residents to serve on the Montechusett Regional Vocational Technical School District Committee. Any Gardner registered voter interested in being considered for the position shall submit a letter of interest with qualifications to the City Council and School Committee, delivered to the City Clerk, 95 Pleasant Street, room 121, no later than 10 a.m. on Wednesday, February 16, 2022. T.T. Serafan, City Clerk. As outlined in the rules of the City Council and the School Committee, the nomination procedure will follow Section 46 of Chapter 14 of Robert's Rules of Order. The order for this evening's proceedings will be as follows. We will begin with the position for a full 4-year term. Nominations will be taken from the floor. Nominations do not need to be seconded, but may be seconded to indicate an endorsement of a candidate. No one may nominate a second person until every member wishing to nominate someone has had the opportunity to do so, unless an objection is raised. Once no further nominations are offered, the president will call for a motion to close nominations, which requires a 2/3 vote. The city clerk will then call the roll, whereupon each counselor and school committee member shall state the name of the person whom they choose to vote for. A nominee receiving a majority vote of those present and voting shall be declared appointed. If no person receives a majority vote of those present and voting, further balloting will be conducted until someone receives the requisite majority. We will then follow the same procedure for the appointment of an individual for a term of 2 years to fill the current unexpired vacant term. Because there are 14 people present, the required number of votes is 8. Nominations are hereby opened for the appointment of a representative for a term of 4 years. Counselor Harder?
Yes, I would like to nominate Matthew Vance. I have known this young or younger man than I, who is a hardworking husband and father for three young boys, who genuinely cares about the schools and all that is involved. So with that, I would like to nominate Matthew Vance to the Monty Tech School Committee for a 4-year term.
Thank you, Counselor.
Second.
Motion made by, the nomination is made by Counselor Hardern and seconded by Counselor Boudreau for Matthew Vance. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Counselor Ron Cormier?
I'd like to nominate Eric Commodore. He's a person well-trained, well-qualified by training and experience, and has previously served on said board.
Thank you, Counselor Ron Cormier. Seconded by, the nomination is made by Counselor Ron Cormier, seconded by School Committee Member Bob Schwartz for Eric Commodore. Are there any other nominations from the floor? Are there any other nominations from the floor? Counselor Walsh?
I move the nomination be closed.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Walsh, seconded by Counselor Boudreau to close nominations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion passes. Nominations are now closed. With that, I will ask the clerk to call the roll. When called on, please state the name of the individual you wish to vote for.
Counselor Boone,
Matthew Vance.
Counselor Boudreau,
Matthew Vance.
Counselor Craig Cormier,
Eric Commodore.
Counselor Ronald Cormier,
Eric Commodore.
Counselor General Lowitz,
Eric Commodore.
Counselor Hardern,
Matthew Vance.
Counselor Heath,
Eric Commodore.
Counselor Tyros,
Eric Commodore.
Counselor Walsh,
Eric Commodore.
President Kaczynskis,
Eric Commodore?
Ms. Hurst,
Eric Commodore.
Ms. Plavin,
Eric Commodore.
Mr. Swartz,
Eric Commodore.
and Ms. Ward Layton.
Eric Commodore.
Eleven for Commodore, 2 for them. 3 for them.
Matt Vance received 3 votes. Eric Commodore received 11 votes. Eric Commodore, having received the requisite majority vote, has been appointed. We will now take a brief recess so that Eric Commodore, who has been appointed, can be sworn in. The joint convention will now come back to order. The next order of business is to fill
Madam
a...
President?
Councilor Walsh?
Yes, I rise to, so I can be seen and heard okay. I raise a point of order and wish to make a motion at this time. I think a serious question has arisen with respect to the validity of the second of the two appointments that have been scheduled for a vote tonight. Apparently, and anecdotally, this was initiated by a phone call from the superintendent of the Montezuma Regional School District suggesting that a vacancy existed in the position that had been held by our Councilor James Boone, who was elected 2 years ago by a joint convention, and I think in February of 2020 to serve a 4-year term. And it's alleged anecdotally that by reason of certain circumstances having to do with being sworn in, that a vacancy now exists in that position. I have seen nothing from the Monte-Tech School Committee, from the district, from any legal interpretation of their charter or the facts or a recitation of facts that support that conclusion. Absent that, I believe that this matter is not properly before us, or at least there's certainly a question of whether it's properly before us for a vote. So I'm going to move that the election for the 2-year term be postponed and that the joint convention request an opinion from council to the Monte-Tech School Committee on whether a vacancy exists and the rationale on which that conclusion is based, as well as an assessment of the facts that support that conclusion as well. I doubt in my own mind whether it exists, but I think we should not act until we have something from the Montezuma School Committee that claims that a vacancy exists. So I make that in the form of a motion. I second that.
Motion made by Councilor Walsh, seconded by Councilor Boudreau, to postpone the election of the 2-year term for a Monte-Tech School Committee member, and that the joint convention request a written document from Monte-Tech School Committee that claims that there is a vacancy on the school committee. Is there discussion on the motion? I'm going to do a roll call vote. The clerk will please call the roll.
Councilor Boone,
Yes.
Councilor Boudreau,
Yes.
Councilor Craig Cormier,
Yes.
Councilor Ronald Cormier,
Yes.
Councilor Denalowitz,
Yes.
Councilor Harder,
Yes.
Councilor Heath,
Yes.
Councilor Tyros,
Yes.
Councilor Walsh,
Yes.
President Kaczynskis,
Yes.
Ms. Hurst,
Yes.
Ms. Plavin,
Yes.
Mr. Swartz,
Yes.
and Ms. Ward Layton.
Yes.
14 yeses, the motion passes. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by School Committee Member Schwartz, seconded by Councilor Boudreau to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. The meeting stands adjourned. Thank you.
I remember when